What a move in gold, extending losses after its steepest sell-off in over a decade. The precious metals record run before yesterday sparking concern at a US debasement trade. Jane Foley of Rabobank debunking that theory, writing debasement would imply a move away from the dollar and US treasuries into assets such as gold. And there is very little evidence to back up these flows. Jane joins us now for more. Jane, welcome to the programme. It's been a really curious year because the narrative around foreign exchange was born in one quarter. And it was the first quarter of 2025. And I find it difficult to find evidence that the rest of the year really jives with that narrative at all. We had a big blast of dollar weakness. Jane, what's followed?
Well, you're quite right. I mean, most of that dollar weakness was really down in the first 5 months of the year. And ever since, well, actually, over the last month or two, I keep on finding myself saying, well, no, actually, the dollar isn't weak. It's been one of the better performers. In fact, I think it's a better performer right now in the month to date and perhaps over the 1 month view too. So actually, essentially, if we look at the dollar index, for instance, that's sort of gone nowhere since at the beginning of July. And what are we looking at in euro dollar? You know, a currency, the dollar that is certainly well off its lows versus the euro. So we aren't looking at a weak dollar as we stand. But yes, the theme really was set at the start of the year by that huge bout of dollar weakness.
So, Jane, let's talk about reality and the last few weeks, and then we can get to the peculiar move yesterday, the wild swing we saw in gold. More recently, we have seen gold rip higher, started to go vertical the middle of August and never looked back. And alongside that, we did have dollar strength participate as well. So, Jane, what explains those moves? What's the relationship, if there is one, between the two?
You know what, I mean, normally, of course, when you get a stronger dollar, then a profit-taking sets in. And I think with respect to gold, yeah, there are good reasons, I think, for many portfolios to think about diversification this year. And I think that's still a valid theme. And I think gold, can be held along those lines. But, I do think there was lots of FOMO, a phrase that I've heard, in your channel quite a lot over the last few weeks. And certainly, at the start of this week, the Australian press were showing pictures of retail investors queuing round the block to get their hands on some gold. And I think for many institutional investors, that was perhaps the last straw. So profit taking pushed in as well with the stronger dollar. I think as we go into next year, there's probably still a theme, a reason to diversify portfolios, and maybe gold again is part of that. But I think it is going to struggle quite clearly to match those very recent highs in the very near future.